Let's talk about the IMF unveiling the new global currency known as the Universal Monetary Unit to transform the world economy. This is crazy. A new global currency is just launched, but 99% of the global population has no idea what just happened. I mean, of course not, right? People are barely catching up to the fact that it's stupid to hold your money in banks, that the US dollar as a paper money will be worthless, and that Bitcoin and controlling your keys is paramount to your financial freedom. People still haven't gotten that far yet. They start throwing this at them. I mean, people are looking at CBDCs and being like, that's never going to happen. Well, it's literally happening in front of their faces. So for people, for this to be, shocking, it really isn't. And 99% of the world's not even paying attention to most of this stuff. Neither will they in the future either, right? The Universal Monetary Unit, also known as Unicoin. Oh my gosh. Check that creepy name out. Unicoin. How about not, my friend? Is an international central bank digital currency that has been designed to work in conjunction with all existing national currencies. This should set off alarm bells for all of us because the widespread adoption of a new global currency would be a giant step forward for the globalist agenda. The IMF did not create this new currency, but it was unveiled at a major IMF gathering earlier this week. Today at the International Monetary Fund Spring Meetings 2023, the Digital Currency Monetary Authority, the DCMA, announced their official launch for an international central bank digital currency that strengthens the monetary sovereignty of participating central banks and complies with the recent crypto assets policy recommendations proposed by the IMF. Universal Monetary Unit, UMU, symbolized as ANSI, a character U, as if it couldn't get creepier, is legally a money commodity, can transact in any legal tender settlement currency, and functions like a CBDC to enforce banking regulations and to protect the financial integrity of the international banking system. As the press release quoted above indicates, this new universal monetary unit was created by the Digital Currency Monetary Authority. So who in the world is the Digital Currency Monetary Authority? Honestly, I had no idea until I started doing research for this article, he goes on to say in the article that I am now reading on this YouTube channel. The press release says that the organization consists of sovereign states, central banks, commercial and retail banks, and other financial institutions. The DCMA is a world leader in the advocacy of digital currency and monetary policy innovations for governments and central banks. Membership within the DCMA consists of sovereign states, central banks, commercial and retail banks, and other financial institutions. Why do they always make me reread things in these articles? Come on, guys. I need to pay attention a little bit better and try to skip them. Basically, it sounds like a secretive cabal of international banks and national governments is conspiring to push this new currency down our throats. Well, I've told you guys we have two paths to go down moving into the digital transformation, and we'll come out on the other end with in either one of two situations. Either we'll be in the situation where everything is centralized, and basically that does mean, yes, eventually you're centralized internationally. That's what that means. Or we come out the other end decentralized completely. And the only way we come out in the correct direction, as I would see it, which would be the decentralized way, is by educating people how to control their own finances. By controlling their own private keys and utilizing cryptocurrencies that are not CBDCs. That's my humble opinion. I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions, of course. Just curious, raise of hands, right? Like, we'll just get a poll going. Would you rather have a CBDC or everything be exchanged for in Bitcoin? Because there are actual people that will probably vote for CBDC. Maybe not in our particular chat, but definitely somewhere. Oh, they just left. We went from concurrent viewers going to almost over 100 to now 88. I told you this was going to piss some people off. Let's go ahead and continue to talk about it more. We're being told that the Universal Monetary Unit is Crypto 2.0. Ooh, look at that nice little pretty bow they put on top of that shit show, huh? And those that created are hoping that it will be widely adopted by all constituents in a global economy. The DCMA introduces Universal Monetary Unit as Crypto 2.0 because it innovates a new wave of cryptographic technologies for realizing a digital currency public monetary system with a widespread adoption framework encompassing use cases for all constituencies in a global economy. You made me read that twice again, you damn article. I don't know about you, the article says, but this sounds super shady to me. Of course, the Digital Currency Monetary Authority is not the only one who has been working on a new digital currency. The UK has also been working on one, as well as the European Union. My assumption is this is how it actually plays out in the beginning. First thing you got to do is shut down a whole bunch of banks in each country, right? So that you have a few banks that will cooperate with the CBDC in the country, right? Then once you have that in place, you've centralized up to that form. You have like 3-4 banks, and then you have the Federal Reserve, and then that governs those 3 or 4 banks that agree to comply with all of the rules and regulations surrounding the CBDC. And then you distribute out from there, and you go internationally, and you have an international CBDC, and then you just kind of, you know, each country does it, and then eventually you just have this hierarchy at the top. Not dissimilar from what we have now, just less steps to get there, right? That's what you end up with, less steps to get there. And would it surprise anyone that the Biden son of a gun, are you guys trying to kill my YouTube channel off right now? Would it surprise anyone that the Biden administration is touting the potential benefits of a digital form of the US dollar? Of course. Now, to be fair, Trump would do the exact same thing because he likes the digital dollar and he's definitely anti-Bitcoin. So it doesn't really matter what side you're on here. The point would be a CBDC in an attempt to strengthen the dollar. Now, I do think Trump would do a better job at strengthening the dollar than Biden. But at the end of the day, it's probably too little too late. And I don't know. That argument's moot because Bitcoin or nothing. That's how I feel about it. A United States central bank digital currency would be a digital form of the US dollar. You can just change that to will be. FedNow system comes out in July, by the way, guys. While the U.S. has not yet decided whether it will pursue a CBDC, the U.S. has been closely examining the implications of and options for issuing a CBDC. If the U.S. pursued a CBDC, there would be many possible benefits, such as facilitating efficient and low-cost transactions, fostering greater access to the financial system, boosting economic growth, and supporting the continued centrality of the U.S. within the international financial system. I don't think that is a coincidence that governments all over the Western world are simultaneously developing CBDCs. It most certainly is not, right? Like I said this earlier. What do? You collapse the banking system down to just a few banks. You get them to participate within the CBDCs. And then from there, you have one kind of global head, and you move that into the international system, and you have an international CBDC that governs all of them, right? It makes it a lot easier to do this on an international level if it is a digital currency, right? It just does. And the IMF has actually already put together an extensive handbook to assist central banks and governments throughout the world in their CBDC rollouts. So there's a handbook for this. Sometimes I just have to click it just to make sure I understand this. Oh, yeah. Nope, that exists. Nice. Okay. All right. The International Monetary Fund is putting together a central bank digital currency handbook. Yep, there we go. A lot of people out there will cheer when these digital currencies are introduced, but it's imperative to understand that once everyone is using them, your financial privacy will be almost totally gone. Not almost totally gone, it'll be totally gone. Not that it isn't already totally gone. And I did have this discussion with Daniel Keller, who's going to be on the channel here soon, by the way. We actually didn't talk about Flux at all. We just had a nice podcast about everything crazy going on with AI and so on. That'll be out in 2 weeks, so stay tuned for that. But I did just have these conversations surrounding this with him. And it is interesting that, like, it's kind of like the younger generations really won't care about this. Like, if you ask the younger generation that, like, if they even have cash, and then on top of that ask them for like the perks to having cash, most of them don't care, right? There may be a few outliers that maybe did have working experience in the shadow economy, the you know, waitresses, waiters, that sort of stuff. Maybe they understand the importance of cash, but by and large, a majority of the youth don't, and they'll just let this go, right? Which, by the way, means that the shadow economy goes bye-bye as well, just in case you're wondering. Whether you think that's a positive or a negative, you let me know. I thought we were pro helping the little guy out, like the waitresses and waiters. I thought that's what we were as a society, but you know, we need to make sure that we're getting the taxes from them and making their lives nearly unlivable so that we can continue to feed the war machine. Sure, that works. Today's sponsor is BT Miners. BT Miners has been a longtime sponsor of the channel and a proven reliable source for ASIC miners. If you're looking to purchase ASIC hardware from Bitcoin to Dogecoin miners, they are available for purchase on bt-miners.com. BT Miners is a trusted source by both ASICminervalue.com and cryptominer.com. Follow the affiliate link in the description and tell them SOT sent you to support the channel. Can you imagine a world in which you are restricted from buying meat for a while because you have already used your carbon credits for the month? It's even just simpler than that, like the shadow economy example, right? Your financial privileges could be potential. Now, we've talked about this. CBDCs, social credit scores, is definitely getting rolled out in China, so on and so forth. We could see these types of tinfoil hat moves in other Western countries. I think the US, you would be pretty hard pressed to get there. I could be completely wrong. I definitely think that there will be examples set to a certain extent. I could see limitations on the types of products you buy. A little bit more babying on what you're allowed to buy, depending on your credit score, that sort of thing. You know, maybe if you have a payment for a car that's X amount, it's not going to let you go spend X amount on video games for the month or something. It'll all come in some form or fashion of convenience, meaning that I don't think it's going to, at least stateside, right? So you have to take this into consideration, like stateside, like US, Canada, that sort of thing. I mean, Canada, maybe not. Maybe they go full on. I don't know. Let's just say United States of America, the way these can of goods are going to be sold to you is convenience, right? Like, hey, we're going to make those financial decisions for you because we just know best. And it's going to be best for you anyways, right? Like, we'll just make it easy for you right off the bat. Bing, bang, boom, you know, good to go. That's really where it's going to come down to, I think. And I think most people will fall for that, right? I think most people across the board are just going to say, like, okay, right? And then we'll just kind of slowly fall into it, right? Oh, thanks. It'll be like a warning. So you know how, like, now you may, like, tweet and you say something mean, and then Twitter will be like, are you sure you want to say that? You know what I'm talking about? Basically, you'll go to the store and, like, let's say you throw, like, you're just craving a candy bar for the day and you throw it up there and you go to scan it, and then you say, you know, give me some gas in this candy bar, and it pops up and it says, you know, are you sure you want to buy that candy bar? Here's your budget. You might overspend. You should just pull that back a little bit. That's how this plays out, okay? And you'll be like, oh, that's great. Thanks for reminding me. Now I'm not going to make the mistake of buying a candy bar. You see what I'm saying? See where I'm going with this? That's the reality of the situation. Because pushing it all the way into this, oh, I'm not going to be able to, that's not going to fly. You can't sell that way. It's just going to be a feature that's built into your FedNow payment system. And that's how that's going to play out, right? It's just the way it is, man. It is what it is. You're going to like it. You're going to love it. It's going to be the best thing ever. And it doesn't matter who's in power. Everybody's going to sell it to you. Everyone will be slowly but surely forced onto the new digital system, and it will be a system that they control with an iron fist. And this is true. I have heard this other argument from a lot of people. Oh, I won't use it. I'll keep using cash. You'll keep using cash when nobody accepts cash? Yeah? Oh, but I know everybody. Everybody's going to continue to accept cash. Look, if the bank's not accepting cash, I ain't accepting cash. That's going to be the thought process behind it. And how do they onboard people? Well, it's pretty simple. You onboard people by basically onboarding the poor first. Make them poorer, put in government assistance programs, and then tell them they can sign up as long as they utilize the CBDC. I've said this before. I'll say it again. That's how they're going to onboard people. Middle class, if there is any left by that point, but let's say, you know, trying to onboard the middle class, whatever it may be, the working class, what happens then? How do they get you to onboard? Well, you can't get your tax return unless you sign up for the CBDC. It'll probably start something out a little bit more like get your tax return instantly by signing up for a CBDC, right? That's what it'll be. Get it instantly now. That's how it's going to be sold, right? Most people will willingly go along. These days, most people are just scraping by from month to month. And one recent survey found that 70% of all Americans are financially stressed at this point. Some 70% of Americans admit to being stressed about their personal finances these days. And a majority, 52% of U.S. adults said their financial stress has increased since before the COVID-19 pandemic began in March of 2020, according to a CNBC Your Money Financial Confidence Survey conducted in partnership with Momentive. Most Americans simply do not care that these new digital currencies could open a door for great tyranny, but those of us that are awake know that more globalism doesn't lead anywhere good. And of course, Zero Hedge is awesome in the way he presents these, and he does make it very difficult for me to talk about him on YouTube. But go check out Zero Hedge. Great stuff over there. As far as the IMF, like I said, what we're really doing is just getting confirmation that decentralization is filtered down even further to basically an international level. I think this is the goal the whole way, right? I mean, it's to do exactly this. It's to eventually centralize this under, you know, some sort of international regulatory body that does control a lot. Obviously, this is going to be for international transactions between countries, though. That's going to be the main point of this. So it's not really any different than the system that we currently have in place. Imagine this like your, I guess, like your Swiss banks or your, you know, well, your international banks, obviously. So it's not that much different. You're just getting more consolidated, right? Meaning, like, don't freak out. The world's not ending. Also, maybe it is, but it doesn't really matter. Live your life and enjoy it. But it's important to understand where right now, I think the biggest protest and the biggest statement you can make is literally just buying Bitcoin. If you have any, like, I really honestly think that that's like, it's not even buying Bitcoin right now isn't about making money. Buying Bitcoin right now is about protesting. I really honestly think that's what it's going to turn into. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. You can check out the full episode here or more crypto content down here. Also, I'd like you to check out my locals page at sonofatech.locals.com, where you can become a member for free or choose to be a $5 a month supporter that unlocks additional content.